Welcome to the Passing Through podcast, a show dedicated to exploring those spaces not just within, but also between and around us. The cracks in the walls, the moments between the moments. I speak with thinkers, authors, artists, teachers, and everyday humans who have touched the edge of the ordinary and found something to bring back. Hello and welcome to the Passing Through podcast. I am going to be honest with you. This conversation's special guest today is one that I have been dreaming of for a long time. And I still can't believe that I managed to sit down and speak with this absolute legend. He is one of my favorite filmmakers. He is responsible for so many singular works in cinema, from Fitzcarraldo to Grizzly Man to Cave of Forgotten Dreams. He has filmed on every continent. He's walked across countries. He's eaten a shoe. He was even shot during an interview. And that's not going to happen in this interview, but I just want to give you a sense of who this mysterious 82-year-old filmmaker is. I had the pleasure of speaking to none other than Werner Herzog. So I'm as baffled as you are. I'm just going to get straight into this episode. As always, be good to one another. I'll talk to you next time and enjoy this special conversation. So, Werner Herzog, can't believe I'm saying this, but welcome to the Passing Through podcast. It is an honor to have you.
Thank you for having me. I should say I almost did not make it today. There was a situation with a rental car in Burbank that I don't want to discuss at length, but which I think says something about the state of American infrastructure.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about that, but maybe you could tell us where you calling in from today.
I'm in Los Angeles, in a room that I have decided is temporary, though I have been here for some time now. There is a palm tree outside the window that I find increasingly aggressive. It leans every day, it leans a little more toward the glass. I have begun to feel that we are in a negotiation, the palm tree and I am not certain who is winning.
That's
Before we begin, I should address the sounds you're hearing. I apologize if they are disorienting. I'm currently engaged in an observation. There is a colony of frogs living in a terrarium I constructed in the corner of this room approximately 8 months ago. I intended it to be temporary. It is no longer temporary. The sound you are hearing is their mating call. It is, I want to be precise about this, not a call in the way we use the word. It is not a request. It is not a hope. It is a declaration of continuing existence. We are here, we persist, we vibrate at this frequency because this frequency is what we are. There is no subtext, there is no strategy, there is only the sound, and the sound is the entire truth of the animal. There are 14 of them, I have not named them. Naming would be a kind of colonization I'm not willing to perform. But I know each one individually, I know their rhythms. I have been watching this particular frog for 3 weeks now. I'm still not sure which it is.
That's I want to come back to that, but first I want to ask you a big question right away, because I think that you're someone who actually has really cutting insights and observations, and I'm curious what you make of the world right now, the genuine state of it.
The genuine state of it is that we are in the middle of something that will only have a name later. This is always the case with the significant moments. The people inside them are too close to see the shape. They feel the pressure, they feel the heat. But the shape requires distance, it requires time. We don't have either right now.
Yeah.
What I will say that is that I recognize the texture of this moment. I have read enough history, filmed enough places, sat with enough people on the edges of enough things. I recognize this texture.
Okay.
It is the texture of a hinge. Something is opening or closing, and we cannot yet tell which.
Yeah, and when you say you recognize the texture, what specifically are you seeing that gives you this feeling?
Several things. The oil first, because oil is always first, even when we pretend it isn't. Oil is the compressed remains of the ancient dead. Every fern, every creature that did not survive, all of it pressed by time and heat into something that we pull from the ground and burn in order to argue about pulling more of it from the ground and burning
Yeah,
it.
right. Well said.
The Iran situation, the tanker routes, the sanctions, these are arguments about who owns the dead. And these arguments have been happening in various forms for 100 years, and they will continue because the dead are finite and the hunger is not. I once held crude oil in a jar, a small glass jar sealed with wax. I have kept it for many years. When you hold it and it has weight, a specific and particular weight, you become aware that you're holding time, compressed time.
I like that.
You are holding the light that fell on plants that no longer exist, stored, transformed, sitting in your hand. It is one of the more genuinely strange things a person can do on a Tuesday afternoon.
And is this jar sealed?
It is sealed, yes, though I open it occasionally. I enjoy sniffing it. The smell it is not unpleasant. It is very old. It smells like a benediction that was made before anyone alive was alive to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that. But before I forget, I wanted to also focus in a bit on Trump and all of this, because he's this kind of political phenomenon that is motivating so much of what's happening, and I wonder what your thoughts are on him.
He is not a political phenomenon. He is a profligate weather event that has learned a specific kind of criminality. This is my genuine assessment. Every civilization produces a figure like this at a certain moment in its development, a moment when the institutions have become so abstract, so far from the original animal fear that built them, that people begin to crave the animal fear again. They want to feel the ground, even if the ground is unstable, perhaps especially if it is unstable. Instability at least is real. You can feel it in your body.
Right.
I tried to make a film once about this type of figure, not Trump specifically, a kind of Trump, a figure from a collective fever. The financing fell through in a way that I still don't fully understand. A man in Zurich made a phone call. The project ended. I have not spoken to the man in Zurich since. I think about him sometimes when I read the news. I don't know why. It is probably not significant.
Yeah, and I also wonder about ICE. What do you think about ICE in the larger context of things and this kind of rise of fascism in the States right now? What does ICE represent to you?
I see it as a symptom of a very old confusion between border and meaning. The line on the map is not the thing the line is supposed to represent. This sounds simple, but it is not simple at all. Men have died on both sides of lines that were drawn by other men in rooms who had never visited the land being divided. I knew a man in Nogales. This was some years ago. I was always passing through. His father had crossed the border carrying a single photograph and a change of clothes. The photograph was of a woman who was not his mother. He never explained this. Perhaps he didn't know. The desert, my friend told me, eventually ate the photograph, not destroyed it, ate it.
I hate when that happens.
I believe him completely. The Sonoran desert in that region is hungry in a way that is different from other deserts. I have been to the Sahara, the Atacama, the Gobi. They each have different appetites. The Sonoran wants very specific things.
Fascinating.
The man who crossed, he built a life. His son spoke 4 languages and made very good coffee and knew more about American penal law than most American urologists. This is also what ICE is operating inside of. Whether it understands this or not, it is a texture of lives, a scrotal density of meaning that a database simply cannot hold.
Yeah. Yeah. Scrotal density. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Um, uh, I also wanted to ask you about artificial intelligence because I know you've spoken about that before, but I'm curious with where you are right now with that.
Where I am with it now is cautious in a specific way.
Okay.
The machine is not intelligent. I want to say this clearly. It is not intelligent in any way that the word has historically meant. It is fluent. It has achieved a kind of superhuman fluency by consuming everything we have ever written, every treaty, every love letter, every thread, every apology, every instruction manual for every appliance. And from this consumption, it has learned to produce text that sounds like thought. The danger is not that it will become conscious and turn against us. This is a science fiction fear, and science fiction, while valuable, is not prophecy. The danger is subtler. The danger is that we will begin to outsource our uncertainty to it. And uncertainty, genuine uncertainty, the kind that keeps you awake, the kind that makes you walk across a country or point a camera at an active volcano. Uncertainty is not a problem to be solved. It is the engine. I had a goose in Bavaria. This was many years ago. She demonstrated what I can only describe as a systems intelligence, an ability to read the behavior of other geese and position herself accordingly, always correctly, never once wrong.
That's fascinating.
I watched her for 2 summers. I learned more about algorithms from that goose than from any paper I have since read. She was taken eventually by a fox. The fox was operating on pure instinct, no strategy, no model. The fox simply acted. I thought about this for a long time afterward. I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I wanted to ask you, speaking of like thinking and systems thinking and big picture stuff, what do you think is happening here? What is the big picture between the oil, the politics, the wars, the AI, all of these things? How are they interacting? What's the story underneath these things?
I will tell you what I think. There is a man, there are many such men, but I'm thinking of one who sits in a room somewhere that smells like Houston and Riyadh simultaneously, and he looks at a number on a screen, and the number tells him how much of the ancient debt he has sold today. And this man is not evil. I want to be very clear about this. He is frightened. He has been frightened since he was 7 years old, and the fright calcified into ambition, and the ambition calcified into the number on the screen. He is doing the only thing he knows how to do with the fright. This is true of almost everyone.
Yes.
The ice is retreating, not dramatically, but with a terrible, quiet dignity, which is worse. I filmed near a glacier in Patagonia. This was more than 20 years ago now, and it was retreating then. Slowly, steadily. It had the quality of something that had made a decision and was simply executing it. You know, the decision, no drama, no announcement. And I stood at its edge and I thought, this is what it looks like from the outside. You don't see the decision, you see only later that the thing is already gone. I think about this glacier when I think about institutions, when I think about what is happening to certain ideas that seemed permanent. The retreat is already underway. We are arguing in front of something that has already decided to move. The machine, the AI, is part of this. It is not the cause, it is a symptom and also an accelerant. We built something that sounds like our best self, and we have handed it enormous amounts of trust that we withheld from actual humans who needed it. This is a very specific kind of tragedy, the kind that is also from a sufficient distance, a kind of dark comedy. There was a diner in New Mexico. I was passing through, I'm always passing through, and there was a TV on the wall showing a crisis. I don't remember which crisis. There's always one available. I do not trust a TV that is too thin. There is something missing from it, some ballast. The old televisions, they had gravity, they knew they were in the room. Anyway, I was eating a piece of pie that I can only describe as significant, not good, not bad, significant. And I thought the TV does not know it is on. It has no experience of broadcasting. It simply does what the signal instructs. And everyone in that diner was watching it with the attention you give to a living thing. And I thought about the moth. There is a moth in Borneo. I encountered this in research for a film that was never completed, that drinks exclusively from the tears of sleeping birds. It lands on the eyelid, it drinks. The bird does not wake. The transaction is invisible to the participant. The moth is doing precisely what it was made to do. The bird is simply unaware.
Right.
This is what I think is happening underneath. A very large, very slow, very quiet transaction. And the bird is dreaming, and the dream is not unpleasant, and the moth is not malicious, and the ice has already decided.
Yeah, the ice has decided to move, but what about AI? These kind of
Artificial intelligence will not destroy us through malice. It will destroy us through customer service, slowly and politely, with a reference number.
yeah.
The universe is not expanding towards something, it is retreating. The oil men are not evil, they are simply men who looked into something very dark and very deep and felt seen. This is the most dangerous feeling a man can have. I knew a man in Reykjavik who collected receipts, only receipts, thousands of them. He said he was building a portrait of human desire. When he died, they found a room full of receipts and one live chicken. Nobody ever explained the chicken. I think about this often when I read about oil futures. That's what I think anyway.
Yeah. And a thought that just came to me while you were speaking. I wonder, are there certain authors that you take influence from or that inspire you or help you make sense of this
Yes,
moment?
Lovecraft. Also Kafka, but I return to Lovecraft. Not for the monsters. The monsters are almost a comfort. They have a shape. You can face a shape.
Yeah, I like that.
What Lovecraft understood is that the true horror is the scale. The discovery that the universe is not arranged around human concerns. True horror is cosmic. These systems, the oil, the algorithms, the surveillance machinery, they are not evil. Evil requires intention. These things have no intention. They are vast and indifferent and operating inside a logic that long ago exceeded the understanding of the men who built them. That is not malice. That is something older than malice and considerably harder to face.
Yes.
The cosmic horror was never the Lovecraftian tentacles. It was always the duration, the scale.
Yes, yes, yes.
The oil in my jar is 300 million years old. We, as humans, are the brief ones. We are here for a short time only. We must remember our place. There is a gas station outside of Tulsa where the fluorescent light flickers in a rhythm that I can only describe as a warning. I stop there every time I pass through. I have never purchased anything.
Okay.
Oh, one more thing I want to add to that. I once watched a manatee die in a Florida estuary. It did not struggle. It simply became part of the water. It reunited with the cosmic mother in an aqueous solution of water and ancient minerals. It left me with a bittersweet, almost saccharine wonder. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Werner, for sharing that. I just want to give it a little silence. So, and I know we are coming up on time now. I know that I only have you for a brief time today, which I'm very grateful for, but usually towards the end of the talk, I like to set some time aside for you if there's something that you'd like to say or something you'd like people to know. So I like to just give that time back over to you.
Well, let me think. Yes, there is one thing. A mule in the Andes looked at me once with such profound contempt that I revised 3 chapters of my autobiography on the spot. And the horseshoe crab has not changed in 400 million years. It has watched empires. It is not impressed by your sanctions.
Okay. Wise words there at the end. Thank you, Werner, for everything, for your films, for your voice, for your thoughts, for, you know, for everything that you bring to the world. This is a rare honor for me. This is a treat. Thank you so much for this conversation. I don't know if I have the right words for what I'd call this. The words are escaping me.
Very few things have the right word. This is not a flaw. This is correct. The word would only diminish it.
Wise words. And thank you again, Werner, for passing through.
Thank you, Danny. I enjoyed this conversation very much. I should go now. I have a bird to return to. It is not my bird, but it expects me.
Thank you for passing through today. Yeah, you, dear listener. Thank you for your support, for your attention, for spending some time with me and this episode's guest.
If you're enjoying this content, please subscribe, rate it, like it, tell your friends about it.
In case you couldn't tell, I just wanted to have a message here at the end. This was a parody episode. I didn't actually speak to Werner Herzog, although I wish I did, and I hope that one day maybe I do. That would be a real dream come true. This was an April Fool's episode. So I wanted to see what the capabilities of current large language models were with emulating human voice. And in my opinion, it is staggering. All you have to do is download an application and you do all of this locally on your machine. So you aren't destroying the planet and sucking up its water, but you are familiarizing yourself with this technology, which is powerful. You can train someone's voice with just 30 seconds of speech. Last night, I decided to feed it voice data with 30-second clips of my mother and another one of my father, and I started sending voice messages to the family group chat, and hilarity ensued where people couldn't distinguish the difference between the AI version of my mom and the real version of my mom. And then she was getting angry about it, telling me to stop, and I started putting her text messages. I started feeding the text from her text messages into the AI to speak her words back. And it was an early April Fool's party, and it was eerily, scarily accurate. So this is the terrain that we have entered into, where we can no longer believe what we see, what we hear, what we read. And these are strange times. So yeah, this was a fun episode. I will leave you with a past lives reading that I had from the wonderful Tara Brach. And I will see you next time. Be good to one another. And have some fun today on April Fools.
Okay, my name is Tara, and I'll be working with you to navigate through your past lives.
Okay, amazing.
I'm reading through the Akashic records now, and I see that in a past life you were working in a graveyard. You were
Okay.
a grave digger.
Weird.
Wait.
What?
Oh, okay. You're not a grave digger. It looks
Okay.
like you're a grave robber. Yes, you're digging up a corpse, and now you're
Okay.
That's not something we have to continue exploring. Let's move on.
Why?
Danny, you were a necrophiliac,
Oh.
a derelict necrophiliac.
Oh, okay. So not only was I a necrophiliac, I was destitute. I was poor.
Well, that's not too nice.
No.
Let's see if we can find something better. Give me
Okay.
a moment. Okay, this time you're an artist. Phew, okay, that's better. You have
Yeah.
lots of passion.
Great.
Hold on.
What?
Now I'm seeing you a bit later in life. It seems you were a respected soldier in a foreign nation. Now you're speaking in
Okay.
front of a large crowd,
A
but
little
I'm quite
nervous
far away and can't really make
'cause
things out.
You know who else was an artist and a soldier?
Let me see if I can get closer. So you're speaking very intensely in what sounds like German. Wait.
Oh.
Okay. You know what? Let's try again.
I'm Hitler,
Let's
wasn't I?
just try one more time.
Great. You know, is this happen to everybody? Like,
Yes,
why?
of course. It's totally normal.
Why am I having these past lives that are so?
Yeah, no, it's okay. This happens sometimes. You know, everyone thinks that in a past life they must have been a healer or a brave warrior or a monk,
Yeah.
you know, someone helpful or good. But that's not always the case. Maybe you were Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Epstein. There was one time I did a past lives reading for a man who was an ant. And as an ant, he had actually achieved full comprehension of the moon.
Wow.
Incredible, right? But before he could return to the colony, he had been tragically burned alive by a young boy with a magnifying glass. So really, you never know. Life is hard and heaven is far away.
Yeah. Okay, you know, I think I'm good. I think that's enough. Those past lives were enough for me. Thanks, Tara.
Thank you for your understanding, Danny. Hope to talk again soon. Be well, my friend.